Welcome to the Dairy News and Views podcast, a production of the Iowa State University Extension and Outreach Dairy Team. Our podcast covers current educational, research, and industry tools available for your operation to manage healthy cows and calves while producing the highest quality dairy products. Thanks for joining us today on Dairy News and Views from the ISU Dairy Team. I'm Jen Bentley, Northeast Iowa Dairy Field Specialist, and today I'm here with our State Extension Dairy Specialist, Gail Carpenter, our State Extension Dairy Veterinarian, Dr. Phil Jardin, and Fred Hall, our Northwest Iowa Dairy Field Specialist, as we visit with Shelby Gruss, our State Extension Forage Specialist from Iowa State University, as we visit about something peculiar that's happening or unusual in our cornfields right now. So we wanted to invite Shelby on and talk a little bit more about it. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me today.
We're always happy to be here.
Well, I'm going to kick it right off. I've had several questions about these tightly wrapped tassels, especially from east of Sioux County. Shelby, what's that all about?
Yeah, the crop team's been hearing a lot about wrapped tassels as well. And so wrapped tassels is kind of when the flag leaf doesn't really release the tassel. It's wrapped around the tassel tightly. And so we've been seeing it this year. It's actually quite a rare phenomena. Talking to our cropping specialist, Mark Licht, he said he's only seen this one other time in his 20+ year career. And so it's pretty rare. Basically, it's just the tassel doesn't seem to be coming out of the flag leaf. And so people are worried about pollen shed and what that means for the plant.
So if the pollen isn't going where it's supposed to, are we going to see lots of blanks in our ears where there's no kernel?
So that's the potential problem, is having poor pollination. That pollination is going to set the pace really for ear development. If we have poor pollination, we're going to start to see less kernels per ear. Some of the field observations that we've seen this year is it can be kind of spread throughout the field where it's affecting 20 to 80% of the plants, depending on the field. Ears have shown anywhere from minimal to about 30% decrease in pollination. So that's looking at up to a 30% yield decline from our ears. They've kind of seen it in a lot of different, they suspect they're seeing it for different reasons. And that could be the high heat we're seeing this year, some environmental factors, the high heat with a lot of our moisture. Additionally, they've kind of been seeing that it doesn't seem to be like brand specific. So like it could be affecting a bare ear corn versus a Pioneer. But what they have seen, it seems to be kind of hybrid specific. So different hybrids are seeing it more often than others. And so it's pretty hit or miss. It's a very kind of unknown phenomena as well, and why it's necessarily occurring. But the running theory is kind of like when we see what I've always called is buggy whipping in corn earlier in vegetative growth, when basically the leaves have a hard time unraveling because of rapid growth. And so they're thinking with this high heat, the moisture, we may be seeing basically rapid growth that's not giving it the time for the flag leaf to unravel the tassel. The tassel's coming out faster than we would normally see, is kind of one of the running theories behind it. But still trying to learn a little bit more about why it's occurring still. So just keeping an eye out for it. There is a questionnaire that Iowa State put out if you're seeing it in your fields.
Just curious, Shelby, I know you said you had that questionnaire out. Have you had any responses, and are you getting responses from like all over the state, or are you seeing it in certain areas?
I am not leading that questionnaire, so I do not know. Mark Licht is leading that. So that could be a little bit more on his side to really understand who's answering it. one thing that they did mention is that a lot of times the affected fields were generally planted in April, so a little bit earlier planting dates on those outside of the fields that are being planted later. But for more of that information, Mark would be the person to reach out to.
So is this something if I'm driving down the road, which we do a fair amount of, if I'm driving down the road, would I be able to see that from my car? Like what are the signs that I'd be looking for?
So yes, but to really be able to tell walking into the field, you'd be able to see potential signs of it. So some of the things that you could look for is I kind of think it looks like droughted corn, especially on that top plant where the leaf is just sticking straight up. So it kind of looks like kind of halfway through tassel emergence. You kind of see the tip of the tassel, but the ear is just wrapped around it. So the ear leaf or the flag leaf is just sticking straight up. And so if you do see that and you're like, okay, do I have this? What kind of implications am I seeing? Then you could go into the field and start looking and getting a little bit closer of a look, seeing if that tassel has emerged, how many of them, and then looking at your silks on your ear. Your silks on your ear are going to tell you if you're having a pollination problem. So typically speaking, the silks will continue to grow if it hasn't been pollinated because it's searching for basically pollen. And you'll have this really long cascading silks out of it. I always think it looks like a ponytail with really long hair coming out. It just flows out. And that can also cause pollination problems because it gets all entangled together and then it's really hard for pollen to find those silks. But basically, really long silks is a sign that can be looking or a symptom you can look for. And then if you peel back the ear, and what you'll see is silks that have been pollinated will detach from the kernel, where silks that have not been pollinated will stay stuck to where that kernel could have been developed. And so sticky kernels basically, or sticky silks could be a some sign that those have not been pollinated, where silks that have been pollinated will fall off that ear. And so that can give you kind of a heads up of what if you're seeing it and if you're seeing pollination problems with it, because there have been some people that have seen this wrapped tassel but haven't seen any problems with pollination. Their corn nowadays is really designed to drop a lot of pollen. And so some of these hybrids seem to be overcoming the wrapped tassel while others are not.
So if a farmer has a choice between which fields to put up for silage, do you have any suggestions on that? If he should put up the wrapped tassel fields for silage, or should he put up the ones that don't have it for silage?
So the problem that you're going to see with this is basically kernel development. And so if you're debating whether you need to take one field for corn grain versus one field for silage, your silage yield will only be hit on the starch side, where your corn grain is going to be hit directly pretty significantly if you have seen a less a decline in pollination. And so I would probably lean towards taking the wrapped tassel or poorly pollinated field for corn silage because you're still going to get something out of that. And this is 100% a theory. I do not have any data to support this, but male sterile sorghum is designed not to produce grain. And what happens with that is the plant just basically stores the sugar. So if you have wrapped tassels, you may potentially see higher sugar content in that. And that's something I would like to look at. So if you do see wrapped tassels and you are chopping it for corn silage, it would be great to get a sample if you're willing or wanting to participate in something like that.
Let's go back to something you said earlier. This doesn't, if you've got a 160-acre field, this doesn't hit every acre. It'll be in some places maybe, or maybe one field.
Yeah. It seems that from what people are seeing across the state, this issue approximately hits 20 to 80% of the plants. And so you probably won't see it on all of the acres. You may see it in spots. And so it can vary across the field on where you're seeing it and things like that.
Is it hitting low spots in the field, or uplands, or, what is this kind of way it's hitting that you can identify?
I do not know. Unfortunately, as this is a fairly rare phenomena, it's kind of unknown a little bit on where it's affecting things more or less. And that's partly why this questionnaire that is getting put out with the crops team is out there trying to learn a little bit more about that. And I think it's something that you're kind of like, oh, am I seeing it? Am I not? But once you see it, you're like, oh, that's it. Like
Yeah.
it's very much a aha moment once you see it kind of thing.
Well, I was already using what you taught us yesterday a little bit when I shucking my sweet corn last night. I was seeing if I could take off the ones that were poorly pollinated better than the others, and I think you're right. It's once it pollinates, you can take it off easier than the years that don't have good pollination. Is that?
hmm Yeah, although with sweet corn, I feel like it's too hard. It's hard to get the silks off no matter what. Whenever I'm trying to make it, trying to peel all those off.
Yeah, yeah.
Saves you money on flossing, though. I hope our listeners aren't coming here for dental advice because this is not the place. Shelby, you said this is something that's kind of rare, but we're seeing it a bit more this year. Is this something you think we're going to see more of, or is this going to be a one-off?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it could be a one-off, but at the same time, if it is partly due to higher air temperatures and these heat events, we may be seeing those more in the future, according to some of our climatology estimations on what our climate's going to look like in the future. And so if we do continue to see high heat events, and that is what we find out to be linked to this, we could be seeing it more frequently. But with it being a fairly rare disease thing that we're seeing currently, I cannot say for sure.
Sounds like this will be another one of those genetic things that starts getting put into the stacked corn we currently have.
Yeah, and there does seem to be that hybrid difference based on some of the things that people have seen in the fields. And so it could be something that could probably be fairly easy to breed out or select against potentially. But I guess time will tell.
When you say it looks hybrid specific, has anyone commented that they're seeing it in their silage corn more or less than their grain corn?
I cannot say anything on that. A lot of times people use dual purpose corn for their silage. So it would be interesting though to see if there is a specific version that is getting it more often than not. And so hopefully we can have a little bit more information on that in the near future.
Well, I think we'll keep following this, Shelby, as the fall season progresses here. And if there's any new updates, we'll be sure to get you back on our podcast or get some notifications sent out, particularly when we start getting into corn silage harvest season. We know that's an important time of year to get, that product harvested correctly. And so we want to make sure that our producers are knowing what's going on in those fields. But if they have any questions, they can certainly contact you. Can you share your email address?
Yes, my email address is sgruss@iastate.edu. Yes, please feel free to reach out.
Sounds good. Any other comments from the team?
And if
I
they have
just-
questions and want to track you down, we'll be down at the forage field day tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you guys will all be in Castana. Is that where you're going?
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, well, we'll
Although
get
I
this
don't know when
published.
this is going to get posted. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're recording this on the 30th. So if you are hearing this before the 31st, feel free to join us down in Castana.
All
Yep.
right. Well, thanks for the quick update. And we want to thank our listeners for joining us today. And we look forward to visiting with you on the next Dairy News and Views from ISU. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. For the full non-discrimination statement or combination inquiries, go to www.extension.iastate.edu/diversity/ext.